Mais je l'ai pas entendu, tu parles pas fort.
Bon, ben là, shit. Pas trop.
Rapproche le micro de ta bouche.
Suite après ça, je vais faire une save and quit, puis je vais faire un countdown de 10-15 secondes après ça. So I'm going to start over. The nice thing about FFM is if you save and quit during Spiral Mountain, since the glitch has not fully activated yet, you can just reset in Spiral. So if you start watching a lot of BK speedruns, that's one of the reasons why lots of people tend to reset in Spiral Mountain. So I'm going to be ready, guys, when you are. So let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Yay! We have a timer now. So, I've already introduced myself. So, Pixel911, we're gonna be doing BK 100% on the X360. About version differences, we're seeing one right now. The first one being we cannot skip most of the text in the X360 version, which makes it the slowest platform for the run. Although, one of the other major differences in that speedrun is when you die on the Xbox version, you do not lose most of your level progress, so all nodes, Shinjos, and some of the level events save. So we're going to use it. We're going to use this to dead warp and right in the middle of some levels to save some time. So it gives some interesting routing changes. First thing here is the infamous first backflip in Spiral Mountain. It can be inconsistent at times, but even if you get a second try one, it's not that bad. Spiral Mountain, there ain't much to say about it. We're gonna collecting the 6 honeycombs in there. About the 100-person speedrun of the game, the goal of this speedrun is to get all 900 notes, 100 puzzle pieces, all 24 honeycombs, and of course beat the game. So that's why I'm going through all this. As opposed to some other 3D platformers, Banjo is a very movement-heavy game, so there ain't many tech in there. There are glitches for sure, but there aren't many movement tech. So I'm gonna be, for the beginning, the fastest travel way is rolling and jumping. You want to flutter as soon as possible. Ideally, you would get what they call a flutter cancel, which is if on the first frame of the jump you do a flutter, it's gonna cancel itself immediately and then you can start rolling again. As soon as I enter the first level, I'm gonna get all the moves, as I said earlier on. And when I get these, you're gonna start hearing a lot of woo, woo. You're gonna have to get used to it, because that's what we're gonna do for most of the run. So what I just did here doesn't seem much, but on the Xbox, if you do not do this jump, then you have to read that bottle stacks, that mandatory bottle stacks. So this is called bottle skip. It's a very precise, it's quite precise, I'm gonna say, spot where bottle's trigger zone isn't active or isn't there. And if you jump over to the bridge directly, you do not trigger the zone at all. Let's hope I do not forget stuff in this run, since I'm really in a cold start state. Worst case, I'm gonna go back and grab this stuff, but shouldn't be that bad. Another thing about the Xbox version, it's more minor. It's very minor, but most loading zones are way faster than the N64 version. And also what? There's next to no lag when playing in 720p. 1080p has some lag in the on an older console, but 720 doesn't. One thing here, also the Xbox version is based off the 1.1 version of the game, which means the termite skip has been patched in that version. So we're gonna have to transform into the termite to climb up that tower. For those who are wondering, the approximate time difference between the two versions are about 5 minutes. The current BK world record is held by Stivity Bobo with a, if I remember correctly, 2:03:12, unless he PB'd today, which I didn't have time to have a look. I shouldn't be that far off. And the X360 world record right now is 2:12. 2:13:56, sorry, by Shadowworm. So just to give you a ballpark figure of differences right now. This first switch here, for some reason, can be quite inconsistent. Come on, Conga, please. So the route here compared to N64 is quite different, especially because of the termite towers section. But it can we could say it's quite similar to the N64 1.1 route. Oh, come on, seriously? Conga, you did this? That should do it. There you go. If I didn't get hit there, so if I didn't shoot the third egg onto Conga there, I would have hit it. But since he hit me, he went into an invisible state up until he beats his chest. So you do not want that to happen. Quick word about RNG. There are two main RNG things in this game. The first one being enemy movement. So the enemy have set spawn spots, but their movement itself is RNG. So the spot that they are at when you get there is always going to be different. And the second thing is going to be near the end. What? There we go. It's gonna be near the end. It's gonna be for Furnace Gun, the quiz. The grunty questions at the end are completely RNG. The pattern is generated near the beginning of the game. So you're gonna see me later down the line talk to some Bruntildas, which is Grunty's sister. And she's gonna give me some of these answers, which I'm gonna input in a calculator we have to reduce the RNG chance of this minigame thing. On Xbox, usually on PB attempts, we do not talk to any Brentilda. But since we're in the Metron setting, I think it's gonna be safer to just do that and let you not see me die in Furnace Fun due to RNG. By the way, I didn't collect most of these jiggies as Banjo because when Banjo collects a jiggy in a normal state, so grounded state, uh, there's going to be a dance that lasts somewhere between 4 or 10 seconds depending on which jiggy it is. If it's the last one, it's going to be the longer dance. So we have a lot of states in the game that can skip these dances. And first one being the termite. And also if you're in a flying state, swimming state, and lots of others like that, you won't have that dance. So it saves quite a lot of time to just leave some jiggies there to collect later. Since we're already at termite, there's a way to skip that tower out of the level. But since we already have that termite, we can just climb it as intended. So next level is going to be Treasure Trove Cove, the beach level of the game. Usually on Xbox, runners would do Clanker's Cavern first to get some more collectibles for Treasure Trove Cove because it's quite heavy on resources and collectibles. But I'm going to be using an alternate route here that gives a bit more collectibles and that enables it to be done first. Also, it's going to make the run a bit safer down the line on collectibles. It's also going to be the first mid-level Death Warp route. Treasure Trove Cove is arguably one of the hardest levels to speedrun in this game, mostly because of the flying sections, which are quite technical. You have to grab a lot of stuff midair and try and not land, because you will lose lots of time. If you see me struggle in trees, it's normal. The trees in this game are such a pain. So there's Leaky down there. Usually you would have to go down and put the eggs in Leaky so he can drain down the water here. But it's also possible to just poop the eggs from the top. Oh my god, I missed a note. I'm gonna grab it later on. Ideally, you would want to grab this note before. And this Jiggy too. What the heck is happening? Okay, I guess that's how it's gonna end up. Banjo, please. While we're at it, we're just gonna go for the note again. There we go. Uh-oh. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's alright. Usually you'd land on top there and press the X, but I wanted to go a bit faster. I paid the cost. Strangely enough, these stairs can be quite a pain. Sometimes just won't collaborate and you will just slide off the side. Coming up is going to be the second flying section of this route. I'm going to be grabbing the Jiggy midair, hopefully, and then grab the Jinjo up there, and then Big Bomb to the next set of notes. That's where the routes get drastically different from the N64 one. Just to be safe, a few extra feathers here. Third flying section, we're gonna grab the token and hopefully line up for the nose after that. No. Oh, and by the way, hitboxes in this game are weird. Let's word it like that. Okay then. Let's do it like that. It's all part of the route, you know. Seriously, I didn't need to get take some damage before getting into the sandcastle for the first death warp. So I guess that's one way of doing it. Although I might be a bit short on feathers because of that. This sandcastle minigame is super hard. What you have to do is you have to type out Banjo-Kazooie, which is written on the wall, right sides. So here I want to grab the Jiggy and land on the crab, so I skip the dance and go back to the start pad. Since the notes have saved, I can just carry on with the level after that. This route I'm using is still not final, it's still kind of a work in progress. But yeah, don't worry about it. So that wasn't one of the first instances of what we call a quick dive. Basically, if you are into a talent trot animation while you are falling down in the water, the game is going to wait until the talent trot animation is going to actually start swimming. So we use this to reach the bottom of the water pool super quickly. gonna grab the last two gingers here. Okay. Everyone's favorite enemy in the game, Snacker, our good friend. Next up is gonna be what we call Nipper Skip. Or at least we're gonna try it. Okay. We got 2 hits. But you can have all 3 hits while you are within the shell, so you skip all 3 cycles of this mini boss fight. There we go, second death ward. We're done with this level. Next up is going to be Clanker's Cavern. Clanker's Cavern is a less technical level by itself, but it's very cycle based, so you need to hit a certain cycle or to go to a certain speed to hit a cycle, or else you lose about 10 seconds for each cycle you miss. And what I mean by cycle is that once Clanker is raised out of the water, he goes up and down in the water and triggers certain events within that 10-second window. So everything we do outside of like the inside of Clanker area, or outside of Clanker, is gonna be in that timer. So everything I've done since the very beginning is gonna affect the cycle I get both down there with that fish that gives you air bubbles, and also affects when Clanker is out of the water. So everything I do is pretty important as far as timing goes. I'm gonna try and not die here, because this cycle is gonna be pretty tight. Not the cycle itself, but the air bubble. If I wanted to be a bit safer, I could have grabbed an extra bubble before going out, but then I would have missed that cycle that I'm gonna get. Or not. Okay, thanks. So that's one of the cycles I was talking about. I missed one of the egg shots, which means I lost instantly 10 seconds. Or like 8 seconds, since I would have gone in it late. Again, 8 seconds might not seem much in a 2-hour plus speedrun, but it all adds up, so try to have at least as possible of these. Interestingly enough, on these rings you can land on them when you go, so you can trigger a second jump off the rings. And I got all 3, so nice. Since I lost 2 eggs to these egg shots, I'm gonna grab a few extra ones here to be safe. So that's another cycles that start. So the cycle resets when you enter that main level zone, the main area of the level. That's what I meant. Oh my god, I can't English today, as usual. There we go. Small mistakes like missing this note might make you miss a cycle. That's what I say. That's what I mean when I say it adds up. So I should still make it. There we go. So the first set of fans are on a time cycle, whereas the second ones are also on a cycle, but they are way too fast for us to anticipate. So what you're gonna see here looks very cool, because we pretty much skipped this entire section as far as the blade goes. But in that thin line between the 2 polygons, you can just walk through it and you do not get hit by the blades at all. Right here. So it saves a lot of gold feathers that you would usually use to get that, or lots of health if you just YOLO and go through. So here we're gonna spawn the Jinjo Jiggy. Another of these states where you can skip Jiggy dances are swimming. Although when it's a Jinjo Jiggy and you get it immediately, you need to wait until the end of the jingle, like you got all the Jinjo's jingle, before you can start moving again. So we're pretty much done with the cycles themselves. A bit safer here. Also, another way of skipping some of that Jiggy dance animation is grabbing a Jiggy during a cutscene. So basically, if you get the Jiggy while it spawns or during some cutscene, the Jiggy dance and cutscene overlap, so you can save us some time with that. It's nothing major, but again, it adds up. Oh, you grab. Well, this is one of these like semi-Jiggy dance cutscene skip thing I just talked about. So all that's left now is we're gonna grab everything that's left in the level as far as main collectibles go. So the 7 leftover nodes, the honeycomb piece, and the last Jiggy all in the same swim, and then that warp after grabbing the last of these items. So you don't have to go back to the start of the level. Most of the timers on Xbox for some reason are tighter for like in one way or another. So we're using a bit of a different route in that final swim. It's the exact same time since you still die at the end, but it's a bit safer as far as air goes. There are some timers like that that are really like more punishing on Xbox. So we're done with clankers. Also, if you watch a lot of N64 speedruns of this game, you're gonna see that some of the, I'm gonna say higher tier, but like lots of more and more runners are starting to use a route that completely skips having to unlock Bubble Blue and freezes EP, and uses a B glitch called RBA to escape out of the Click Lockwood area, and then you can do some of the levels and some of the layer stuff as the B, which saves quite a lot of time. But sadly, so far we haven't managed to get this glitch to work on Xbox, so we're still using the route where we do Bubble Blue and freezes the normal way. If you've never seen that B route before, go and watch some of these top runners or any runner who does this route. It's awesome to watch. So it's a super minor thing, but if you enter Talon Trot during that walking cutscene after opening a door, you're gonna overlap the walk and the Talon Trot animation. So we basically skip the 0.5 seconds it takes to get into Talon Trot. Here you normally use the waiting boots for that, but we use something called the slope glitch, which is normally used in Mumbo's Mountain for skipping the termite tower. What it does, it's when you get on the slope, there's a timer that starts, which is approximately 1 second, after which you will start sliding. But if your shadow gets onto a flat surface after that, it resets that timer. So that's why we're jumping left and right here, so we always reset the timer and do not have to get into the swamp water. No! I want my health. There we go. Nope, that's not in. That should be in. Alright. So there are quite a few of these Croctus scattered in the level that all spawn sequentially. So the entire Bubble Boop Swamp route is based off these spawn cycles. Oh, hello. There we go. That's the reason why I grabbed some health before entering the level, because this level is heavy on health management, so is the next one, Gobi's Valley. So it's very important to have a certain amount of health entering certain sections of the level. Fun fact, this minigame here is one of the laggiest sections of the game on N64. Probably because of the amount of effects at the same time, with the frogs going out of their spots. Coming up is mud huts. So usually you would have to smash all these huts and use the spring pad like I'm gonna do here. But you can effectively skip all of these without exception by doing a precise jump from the top of one to the next platform. Although for marathon safe strat reasons, I won't be doing all of them. Oh. Nice. So here you're gonna have a super annoying noise, which means I successfully overlapped both the cutscenes, which saves about, I think it's 8 seconds or something like that. But basically, if you hit the switch before the Croctus cutscene starts, you overlap both the Croctus and Grunty switch cutscenes. The annoying noise is gonna stop as soon as I grab the Jinjo. Don't worry, it's not stuck there forever. There you go. What I got here was I got hit during the cutscene, which enabled movement on that part. It's something that we use way later down the line, especially in Collect Lockwood to that beehive near where you spawn the flower. But here you can also use it to start moving before the cutscene ends. Although the camera angle is super weird, so it's quite tricky to get it. Coming up is another of these few RNG parts in the game. Basically, the turtle is going to show you a sequence of 3, 5, and then 7 turtles that you have to remember and copy. Oops. Okay then. patterns are better than the others just because the turtles are closer to each other. That's a good example of a good pattern, since all the turtles I had to hit were all close to each other. And then Z. Pink one. There we go. We usually note the last pattern to make sure that we do not forget it, since you lose one health point as you miss one. Since it's super easy to note, then we can just note the last one, and if we forget anything, we can just back it up with that. Especially in a marathon setting, that's super useful. It's my health. I'm at 4 health. There are a few ways of doing that next swamp section. If you have enough health, you can skip the second set of boots and run through the swamp, which saves, I think it's a bit less than a second overall. But if you have less health and getting enough health is way too far, you can just use the second set of boots. And then we're gonna both routes are gonna skip the third set of boots. But for example, if you only had 1 or 2 HP, then you would use all 3 sets. This section coming up is one of the most annoying sections in the game, arguably, because the camera is so bad. So you better take your time doing that and lose 1 or 2 seconds if the camera is shaky like that, then fall down and lose your run to it. Token, let's grab it right now. By the way, Mumbo tokens aren't mandatory to 100% completion of the game, since they are not tracked on the game total screen. But we do need them for some transforms, so we have a Mumbo token route on both N64 and Xbox to make sure that we have enough for each of the transforms in the game. Coming up is everyone's favorite game, which is Mr. Val game. What's interesting about Mr. Val is he has a lot of rubber banding. So good news about that is that you can grab quite a few things before starting to eat those worms. And he's gonna be super slow after that, so you can catch up real quickly. But the other way is also true. So if you are way too fast and grab way too many worms, then he's gonna start going super speed, and sometimes you just cannot do anything about it. So. The usual strat here for Val is to always be ahead of him, know where he's going, so we can snipe most of his worms. So even though he's super fast, you can still manage to get more worms than him. There's one runner, Dickiscon, who is famous for the Mr. Val song. I do not know it. I do not know the song itself, so I won't sing it. And even if I did, it's his song. I won't steal it from him. Don't worry. But if you have a chance, go ahead and either watch the stream or just watch a VOD or watch the Stiv's AGDQ. Was it the AGDQ? Well, Stiv's last run at AGDQ, and Dick did sing the song. The spawn of these worms is also RNG, so there are very rare occasions where you can technically lose a run to RNG if all the worms spawn right in front of Val. Also, fun fact about this minigame, if you end any round with a score of 35 or more, you get an extra life. So here, as soon as the timer hits the 0, the worm you have to eat changes. So go from Yumblies to Grumblies and then back. I'm getting wrecked here. Where's Val? There you are. Oh no. If you are close enough to Val when the Jiggy spawns, you do not trigger this thing. But if you go out of this zone and then go back in that zone, then you trigger this text, which you cannot skip on Xbox. So here, the purpose of only having 1 HP is that it sets us up for that warp after grabbing everything that's left here. Camera, please. Stop flipping. And we're done with Bubble Gloop Swamp. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get that Jiggy in the lair, which you usually have to go into the next area of the game to fall down that hat and get. But with a jump you're gonna see in a second, you can just go straight up there and grab the Jiggy without activating or going into that next zone. No, okay. Yes. Let's try this again. Nope, that's not gonna work. That might work. Alright. So there we go. So we're gonna use the spring pad a bit later down the line to get the Jiggy inside that statue without activating the grunty switch in Gobi's Valley. So if on N64 you just roll there or shoot an egg, or on Xbox just shoot the egg, you can grab this Jiggy without opening the actual door. So we do that to save some time on a hidden back switch and waiting for the cutscene. Gobi's Valley is usually known within the community as the place where dreams go to die. So we'll try to have that not happen. Oh, we missed it. It's okay. These ring spawns are RNG, so you have one chance out of I think 6 or 7 for it to spawn there. And if it does, and if you're fast enough, which I wasn't because of one of the jumps I missed, you can get this ring early and then save having to hit it again later on. Gobi clip, please. Alright. That should make it. There we go. So what I just did here is called Gobi clip. Basically, if you is it Big Barge? I forgot the name of the move. Anyways, if you do that move in that certain spot and angle, you can activate. You can clip through that wall and just go straight into that loading zone without having to open the door. Just to be safe, I'm gonna grab an extra HP here. And a few eggs. There we go. You're gonna notice that when I'm out of here, the ring isn't at the spot it was before anymore. It's back at the original spot. So the ring count doesn't change. So I still hit one ring. This is still the second one, but the spawn resets when you enter the main part of the level again. So we're going to use that a bit to make sure that we can always trigger it there or at the optimal spot if possible. Coming up is going to be the memory match puzzle game. Fun fact about this memory match game, on N64 the images on the the images and pattern on the memory match doesn't change, but on Xbox for no reason at all they decided to have them change between the games, but the pattern itself doesn't change, only the images on the another of these grab the Jiggy during the cutscene things. Save some time. So you just go onto that spot where the Jiggy will spawn before it actually spawns. So a bit like the Treasure Trove Cove, Gobi's Valley has a few of these flying sections, which are also almost as tricky as the TTC ones. They're shorter, but quite tricky. So first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go through that ring that spawned at the same spot that earlier. Try to not land. Okay, then I landed. It's alright, we're gonna activate this right now since we can. Then we're gonna go to grab the Jiggy and open the Ruby's Pyramid. Usually you would do that on a single flight section. So fun fact about Grabba, usually you would use the running shoes to get the Jiggy. That's why the running shoes song is playing in the background. Or was playing. There it is. But you can grab it either by jumping in there, which is a bit slower, but is used as a backup strat if the big bomb I didn't work. Also here is a small trick called camera manipulation. So if a ring zone is invisible, the ring doesn't spawn basically. So as soon as the section does big, oh my god, please game. Okay, let's go safe. I need to stop talking during these flying sections. I could go for a big bomb there to try and hit the rock, but the thing is, if I did go for it, there is a small chance that I would end up in the quicksand and die immediately. So I won't do it and be a bit safer. That's another of these timers that are way harder to successfully achieve on Xbox. Because for some reason on N64 the door up there starts closing at 0, which makes sense. But on Xbox it's done closing at 0, so you have up until the timer is at 2 to start entering. After that the door is already way too closed to get in there. So you'd have to restart the entire section. So if you miss a single node, you basically lose about 30 seconds. Gobi is another level that takes a lot of health. So health management is quite important, and mine was quite bad during the run. So. By the way, the intended way of going through these rings is not jumping, but flying through them, like all of them sequentially. So here, coming up is going to be hopefully maze skip. There we go. So if you use that wall to jump, then you can skip the entire maze section by just going on top here and skipping everything. As I said earlier, we do not need to hit that grunty switch since we already got the jiggy that it reveals. This section is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to use the fact that we are swimming to skip that section, to skip that jiggy dance, sorry. That's why it's the last Jinjo we get. I'm going to grab a few extra health just to be super safe. And hit poor Gobies again. It's okay, Gobi is magical. He can even walk on water and have a clone, like be at two places at the same time. So and we use the running shoes to skip the dance animation for the last two jiggies. There we go. Hit Gobies again because that's what we do. I'm gonna get an intentional damage here. The safe honeycomb I got at the end just before was for that. And here it's gonna set us up for a death warp right after grabbing the last note. So that's the end of Gobi's Valley. Now we're gonna do one of the longest lair sections in the game, if not the longest one, which is going to open Mad Monster Mansion. FYI, if anyone is interested of winning some money playing Banjo-Kazooie, we have, I don't remember who, but we have some runner who put up a bounty, whoever finds a way to enter Mad Monster Mansion early with the tools like available at that time. So if you have some donations to read or anything, now's the time, I guess. Because there's nothing interesting going on for the next 2 minutes or so. right now I'm activating the cauldron to create a shortcut, like cauldron is saying, that we're going to use after Mad Monster Mansion to come back here. Mad Monster Mansion is another of these levels where on Xbox we have an alternate route that exists that has an additional death warp. That's exactly what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start off by going into the church as soon as possible, and we're gonna death warp after that church section. So it's gonna be one part that's already done that we won't need to do at the end. Since we're here, we're gonna grab some of the few collectibles available around. But since we're doing this first, before breaking the gate, the timer of getting into that church is gonna be way tighter than it would usually be if the gate would have been broken. Next up is going to be that organ section. What's interesting about this organ section is, first of all, the pattern is always the same. So you do not have to actually wait for Motzen to do his stuff. You can just do the pattern straight up. Also, second interesting thing is difference between the Xbox and the N64 versions. The N64 versions has different notes for all these notes, whereas the Xbox version, all the notes sound the same. So there's technically no reason why we are hitting different notes, since they all produce the same sound, right? Go. And try not forget to grab these pew notes down there. I usually grab them before going up there, but an alternate death warp route is dying to the ghosts or to the bees. It can be a bit faster, but it's a bit riskier too. So that's why I usually don't do it. But looks like we're gonna go for it. That's what you don't want to happen. Well, I'm gonna just kill the ghost, and I don't know if it's gonna work. Nope, I did not hit them. Okay. That's no biggie, we're just gonna go back to these bees, to that warp. But yeah, in that case, the fastest way would have been to just grab these notes first, kill the ghost, so you don't have to worry about it. And then just jump down to your death. Since I had way too much HP to do that strat, but anyways. What's done's done, let's go. We can now keep going with the route. So these windows we're breaking are going to be used by the pumpkin transformation later on. This feather count though is so low. We're shooting an egg a bit earlier on, so you usually want to hit this barrel with the egg so you don't have to break it after. It's like we've hit the one just beside. And we're gonna use this section here to get on top of this house without using the spring pad. This is another of these super hard mini games where what you have to do is basically write down Banjo-Kazooie, this time on a Ouija board. So the napper section, there's nothing super special about it, other than the fact that if you hit the floor here, it's gonna wake up napper and you have to go all the way back up and go back into the chimney so it resets that sleeping thing. So just don't fall off. That's one of the few jiggy dances for Jinjos that we're gonna do in this run, hopefully. Doesn't seem like it, but this jump is quite tricky. Kill these dudes. Another fun fact, the developers had to re-record this sound so many times so it sounds less like that F-word thing and more like thank you. We're gonna grab this jiggy later on as a pumpkin, since we're gonna be able to skip the dance animation. other fun fact. Let's hope it doesn't happen, but if it doesn't, then too bad. There's a slim chance on every first transform of Mumbo. So every time you first transform into a certain animal or item or whatever, there's a slim chance that you get a washing machine transform instead, or a what they call the T-Rex transform, which is basically Mumbo telling you that he's gonna transform you into the T-Rex, and then goes around and says, "Oh no, finally it's too cool for this game. Let's keep it for the next one." So it's a nice nod to Tui, which has indeed a T-Rex transform. So here we're gonna be attempting a nice jump to skip having to open the door to that well section. There we go. Up here. We're almost done with this level. Only section left is gonna be the well. So we're gonna dead warp out of the well and back to the start of the level once again. And there we go. We need to stay as the bumpkin to go open that next section, which is simply going to be raising the water level where we first opened Mad Monster Mansion, at least near that section. So we can later open Rossi Bucket Bay and go into Click Clock Wood. Because the run is bad, we're gonna just reset it anyways. So thanks y'all for watching. It was nice. Was that a nice joke? No? Yes? No? Nah, seriously, it's an intentional reset there, so because it's faster to go back to the start of the layer and do the last few things you need to do in that section of the layer, to then go back into Freeze ZP, then to have to wait to go all the way back as a pumpkin to that Freeze ZP section and wait to transform back. So that's the exact reason why we've opened that cauldron earlier on. So first things we're going to do here is Twinkly's minigame skip. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to hit this first guy here. and then go in that corner and just wait for a while. And since the guys that spawn are off screen when they spawn, the Twinklies just go through and don't care about the mob that spawn. So we're gonna wait until the count is down to 2 and the timer to about 48, and then go the other way and finish this. And just like that. So what I just did here is called YOLO Star, or at least we say half YOLO because there's a way to do it a bit faster than that. It is way riskier. And the fun fact about this section is that since the game thinks that you need to be in the flying animation to finish this thing, even though I've landed on top of that star, it still put me back into that flying animation after finishing the cutscene. Here what I did was grabbing the pipe jiggy from out of bounds. It's something that you can do with Big Bomb. We're gonna also use that up there after being done with this level to grab the Witch Switch jiggy without opening that kind of door that reveals it. So here we're going to be picking up a few of these gifts because Boggy, the guy that we hit with this lead early on, isn't a good enough father to actually get presents for his kids. So we're doing it as in his place. But before that, we're going to do a few big bombs to hit these snowmen. I hope I'm going to have enough feathers. This is going to be quite tight. I have enough, but if I had another feather here, I could have big bombed straight into that loading zone for Mumbo Skull. For those who aren't familiar with the Banjo-Kazooie speedruns, the tradition here wants that quite soon, like in 1 minute or so, I'm going to be doing one of the 2 boggy races. And it's a tradition in the community to spam Wahey in the chat, W-A-H-A-Y, during those races, since that's what Bogey says during that race. It's going to be the same for the second race. The first one is going to be as the Walrus, and the second one is going to be done as Banjo with the speed shoes. So please, Chatterinos, have some fun and spam, and please mods, don't ban these people for spamming. Thank you. There's a few strats for these. Buggy races is another part of this game that has some rubber bending. So if you are behind Boggy, it's gonna go slow. If you are ahead of him when crossing some gate, uh, it's gonna go way faster. So we're gonna abuse this a bit, especially later on to make sure that we can grab a lot of stuff since he's ahead, and then still not lose the race due to being too far behind. I do not see chat, but I do hope that you're spamming Wahey. I'm gonna using this rubber bending here to grab those nodes without losing the race, hopefully at least. Fun fact here, if you tie this race, like if you frame perfect tie this race, the game is gonna soft lock a few seconds after spawning the Jiggy. Because it doesn't know if you've actually won or lost, but it still spawned the Jiggy as if you won, so the game just gets confused, I guess, and locks. If for any reason you did not spam Wahey during that last race, you're gonna have another chance at it in about 2 or 3 minutes. So get ready. Before that, we need to do a few more things. I have way too many health. Without a proper camera angle, these nodes and feathers can be quite a pain to get quickly in both casual and speedrun play. We're gonna go up here, get all these nodes and this Jiggy. And since flying is faster than walking, then we're just gonna fly to that igloo. And what's faster than flying? Falling down. So that's what we did. Now that the kids are happy, we're gonna have to raise that guy again so we can go back and take care of his kids. But before that, we're gonna grab the last few nodes on that right leg. That snowman. You could technically grab these during the first race as a walrus, but it's not that much slower to go for that a bit later, which I just did. here's the second set of Wahey spam time. Let's go. So during this race, I'm gonna use the fact that there's that rubber bending to grab all the notes around that were left without losing the race. Then go back ahead so it goes faster. Grab the before to last Jinjo and the last few notes. And then try and not lose a race. Just to be safe, I'm gonna let him pass by here. There we go. Remember this racist walrus we talked to as the walrus before? We're gonna go into his cave and steal the Jinjo from him to get the last Jiggy of this level. Fun fact about this game, there are items like that one behind, which is the ice key. That was originally planned to be used as items that would transfer from BK to BT, so to TUI. But because of some logistics and Nintendo reasons, they scrapped that idea from the game. And with that route, we're out of here. So about Stop and Swap, just one quick note. They did reintroduce this mechanic on the Xbox versions. That's what unlocks Dragon Kazooie and a few more perks in TUI and a few vehicles for that other Xbox game that I won't name. So here you want to try and not land grabbing that Jiggy in the eye, because you need to go back flying over there and grab that Jiggy that I was talking about with the Beak Bomb. So just like the Pipe Jiggy, we're just going to use a quick Beak Bomb here and get it. So the next level in this run is gonna be Rusty Bucket Bay, which is infamously known for the engine room part of the level, which in both casual and speedrun play can be run killers or just super hard. So let's hope for a good engine room, shall we? There we go, Rusty Bucket Bay. except for the engine room, there ain't much really going on in Rusty Bucket Bay as far as tricks go, I guess. The most of it is mostly executing the route as fast as possible. But there are going to be a few tricks and skip that I'm going to explain in the level still. So engine room, let's go. For a safety reason, and since the input lag is a bit different than at home, I'm gonna be going safe and not jump on these while they are rolling. Although, just know that you can run on these rolling things while they are active. You just have to jump super fast and you won't get affected by the actual speed of the nice first propeller. There's gonna be another one a bit later. We're gonna try and do it as talon trot, since for some reason it's way more permissive. Angle still needs to be good. Please? Okay, this should still do it. There we go. That was slow, but it's better to go slow in that case. When you're not sure that you're gonna get it, it's better to just go slow than to die in there. That's a window clip. For some reason, you can just clip through that window by running into it or dying, running in as down front. It doesn't work the other way around though, which is sad. Oops. Let's not miss notes, please. So we're done with engine room. We only need now to get the Jiggy on it before the timer ends, or else we're just gonna die there. But we should be fine. We have plenty of time left. Another fun fact, in Rusty Bucket Bay, there's what they call oily water. And when you are in that water, even if you are out of the water, you still lose air as if you were in the water. And if you are in that water, then you just lose it twice as fast. So you better go fast or else you're gonna die in that water. So in that room that we just opened, there's a boss called the Boombox Boss. And we're gonna skip most of it. You're gonna see it in a sec. Nope. Okay then, there you go. Health please, health please. I'm gonna need to be careful with health. There's a way, if you do a jump at the right frame, you can frame perfect grab the Jiggy and you can both frame perfect grab the Jiggy and get hit by the boss at the same time, which is gonna cancel out the Jiggy animation. But it's quite tricky to get, and I used to get it more consistently, but for some reason I don't anymore. But it's okay. It's still faster than to beat the boss normally. Here I try to set at least 3 HP because the jump was in that next room and most of the levels. And same goes for the birds in Click Clockwork, they all do 2 damage, so if I have 2 health, I'm gonna die instantly.
We received a $5.42 donation from DD Gamings. Thank you very much.
So here there's a trick we can do called LIFO jump. I won't do in this run since I literally just learned it. But just so you know, you can jump from this platform straight onto the boat, and it's a quite a precise jump. So if you miss it, then you lose a lot of time. But if you get it, you save like 5 seconds. That was a cutscene skip, so basically if you enter that loading zone before the cutscene starts, both are going to overlap and you're just going to skip the end of the cutscene. Oh no, oh no. That didn't just happen. Oh my god. Okay, okay. We're fine, we're fine. Good old excuse would be, it's okay, you're on Xbox. It's not that bad, but still, you don't want that to happen in a run. It's the exact same thing that just happened. What I could have done, I could have used gold feathers to kill both the guys and everything, but I wasn't too sure about my gold feather count, so didn't want to risk it out. Yeah, we're kind of back on track. It's one of the least worst spots to die on Xbox at least. And yeah, don't worry, that's not the reason why I run an Xbox. I don't want to have free deaths, I don't care about them. Just because it's the stereotype of an Xbox runner, usually. One nice thing about dying though is I'm gonna be able to use the extra health that I have to do a damage boost later on. In that next room I'm gonna be going into. I usually don't do it, at least since my health is pretty low at that point. But since I'm pretty much full health now, I can do it without problem. As I said, since these do 2 HP of damage, you do not want to get hit by this guy with 2 HP, or even with 1, because you're going to see in that next room, there are quite a few of these. And we're going to try and go through and skip them. Okay, I guess. Almost got it. Isn't that bad since we still need to get that damaged. safer here. Not get hit. But you can also skip them on the way back without any problem. Next thing I'm gonna go for is another of these jiggy dance skips, although it's gonna work a bit differently this time around. We're gonna see. Should have got it. Yep. So basically, by jumping on that hole where the jiggy spawn without touching the ground first, the game still thinks you're in a swimming animation, so it skips the dance just like if you were swimming, but you're on the ground. And since it's the last jiggy we grab in this level, it saves quite a lot of time. And we are done with Rusty Bucket Bay. I've mentioned this earlier, but since we're in a marathon setting, we're gonna go a bit safer and talk to some Brentildas on the way to opening Click Lockwood. There are gonna be two of them that we're gonna be talking to. Usually be safe with only one. I might just do that and talk to one, see what the pattern is, and if I get a bad pattern, I'm gonna talk to the second one. We'll see. For that, we're going to do a jump here called leaf jump, and it's quite tricky because the place that you need to be at to trigger that like double jump is quite precise. But when you get it first try, you shave off a few seconds as opposed to going around and do it normally. We're going back here to simply open Click Lockwood, and the Click Lockwood puzzle pad is just nearby Treasure Trove Cove. One sad thing about Rentilda on Xbox, you cannot skip the text on the first time you talk to her. So, cauldron butt, cauldron boils green, cauldron boils green. While this opens, I'm gonna do this, cauldron boils and green. I got 8 patterns left, which is one of the best patterns you can have, so I'm gonna skip the second Brentilda because of that. But I could have talked to another one, Av, and get 3 more good answers, which would have put the patterns down to probably only 1. But at that point, we can pretty much trust RNG, and if it kills Furnace Fun, it's gonna kill it pretty early, so it won't matter that much. It's gonna still matter, but it won't be that bad. Let's pray for good RNG later on. We've just entered the last level of the game, which is Click Lockwood. the concept of it is super simple, but at the same time super awesome. It's basically the same level layout, or almost, in 4 different seasons, like in the 4 seasons. And every season has its own challenges, depending on what's happening in that season in real life. I'm gonna attempt something here that I usually don't do. Nope, didn't work, so. So that's the section I was talking about earlier, where getting hit by an enemy during cutscene lets you move during that same cutscene. So I got intentionally hit by the bees during the flower growing cutscene, so I could move and get the other nodes around. This is something that's used usually on N64. I haven't seen any Xbox runner do this route, even though it's not that bad. It's just that we did not find any decent route with this yet. But you can do the same thing in Spring too, and then since the game, well, when you come back to Spring, since the game thinks you are not supposed to feed that flower twice in Spring, it just doesn't know what to do when the camera locks. And when it does, you can go into Mumbo's hut, because you can still move during that cutscene thanks to the bees. So yeah, you can go into Mumbo's hut, transform into the bee, and then grab the Jiggy that you would usually get in Fall. Quick Lockwood has a lot of tricky platforming. I'm gonna say lots of runners hate this level because of that, because it's hard. Won't hide it, it's hard to do, especially when you start off. That's a place where you die quite often. Don't worry, this was an intentional death warp. Just warps me back there instead of quitting the season. So we're done with Spring 1. We're gonna go back later on to transform into the bee. But right now, we do not need to go back. Please? Get worm. Told you that the hitboxes in this game were weird. That's another example of it. You're gonna have another one of these in Fall, where the acorn hitboxes are arguably the worst hitboxes in the game. So here, you're technically supposed to pack those, like use red attack, rap attack. But you can just use gold feathers to wait and kill all them Zubas to get their Jiggy. Poor Gobies. Again. We're not done with him. We're gonna need him one more time in this game. Six feathers, alright. There are a few ways of breaking this rock, and the fastest one is using a feather. This leaf section can be quite tricky. For some reason, when you backflip off these and when you jump off these, you can still slide off. I could have probably gotten away without killing this bird, but again, it's a bit risky, so I'm just not gonna go for it right now. For this Jiggy, there are two main ways of getting it. Well, three, if you count getting it onto. First one being going into the house, doing that risky jump to the other side and grab the Jiggy there. Second way being shoot an egg, just like we did in that statue, to get the Jiggy through the house. And the third way being being super safe and getting it in fall when the house is completely built. After that, we're going to be almost done with summer. This time we won't use a death warp out of summer, and the main reason for that being if we do it, then it's going to unbreak the rock that we've broken in that beaver house. While we can still break in autumn, it's going to be slower than just walking out of the level, walking out of the season, sorry. Plus we need to grab that Jinjo anyways, which is near the exit. So we're pretty much done with summer. In fall, there's quite a few things to do here, mostly because, first of all, you need 10 of these worms to feed the bird instead of 5. And the second reason being that there are lots of notes in there. So that's a season with the most notes, if I remember correctly. Another fun fact, there is a dead zone in these flowers that you can just go in and not get hit. So if you do not have any gold feathers, you can technically grab all the notes and get hit like only once. This way. Sorry, Goobies, that's the last time for this game. Don't worry. So this is the hit, the Gobi hit that you would skip if you were doing that soft lock strat in Spring 2. You would skip this and have the Jiggy spawn by pooping eggs again. Up here, you're gonna see me kill 2 birds up there. The reason for that being, I'm gonna jump down to this specific spot later on. And I don't want to get shut down by these birds. And since I'm gonna be jumping there, there's a slim chance that I wouldn't be able to dodge them at all. That was a weird place to get damage. Anyways. We're gonna death warp at the end of this season, so getting damage isn't that bad, but we still try and minimize it up until the end of the season, because we never know what's gonna happen.
We've got a $9 donation from G Virus, who says, "I got home safe. Can't believe how far we've come since I started this crazy project 2 years ago. I want to thank every single staff member, volunteer, runner, and of course viewer who are making all of this possible. Thank you, and I'll see you all in 5 hours." Thank you, G Virus, for making this a thing. You're great.
So that's the acorns I was talking about early on. The hitboxes on those are so bad. So we should be grabbing the last worm here, and we're going to be feeding this bird one last time so he can give us a Jiggy in the next season, which is going to be winter. That face when I realized that it's almost 4 a.m. here. Oh my god. How am I not sleeping? Just like the bird. Anyways, back to the run. That's the jump I was talking about. We jumped straight where this bird should be, so if I didn't kill it, there was a slim chance that it would have hit me down. Only thing left here is going to be to get into that beaver house and get warp out of there. After grabbing the 2 notes and the single Jiggy piece that he left for us. Just to be safe, I'm going to grab an extra life here inside that warp a lot. So winter, a bit like Freezy Peak and Treasure Trove Cove, there are quite a few flying sections here. That is mostly going to determine if this is a good winter or not. First of all, we're going to go get that blue Jinjo here. What? Okay. Then go see that big bird, Aerie, who's grown up quite a lot. He's gonna poop a Jiggy. Some birds poop eggs, this one poops Jiggy. grab this midair. So we skip the dance and get up there to grab yet another Jiggy. The Jiggy in there can be grabbed in pretty much any season, but winter is the one that's the most optimal to use for that, especially because you can fly there straight. So here we poop an egg to going to open this window so we don't have to go back there twice. You could do it with a peck, but it's way harder to have it as consistent as with the egg. We almost got hit by that snowball. So we're almost done with this season. One last thing we're gonna go do is go grab that last honeycomb in Naughty's house. Since we've already grabbed the Jiggy, the boulder is gone. If I didn't grab the Jiggy and follow the boulder would still be there because of the death warp. And after grabbing that last honeycomb, I'm gonna death warp just before my health get refilled. Especially that my health is already full. Achievement unlocked. Oh, I almost exited the level. Okay, so many achievements. Oh my god. For a second, I thought that I had to go up there. So we just transformed to the bee, grabbed the last two Gingers, and then we're pretty much done. Flying with the bee could be quite tricky. Takes a while to get used to. Okay. Yes. And then with the bee, we're gonna clip out of here just because we can. The game lets us. Please, game. That was a slow clip. Anyways, I'll take it. So we now have all 900 notes, all 24 honeycombs, and all 100 jiggies. So all that's left to do is go kick this witch's ass. Sorry for not being family friendly. don't think there are many kids awake at 4 a.m. anyways, right? There's gonna be about 45 seconds of grunty talking that I sadly cannot skip, thanks to running on Xbox. That's a sacrifice we have to do when choosing this version. But yeah, I can talk about Furnace Fun a bit. Most of Furnace Fun is set there. It's mostly trivia about the game that asks random questions about either the world, the place you visited, the music, sounds, and stuff like that. And those grunty squares are those that I got the answers for from Brentilda. And those are the only RNG questions in that thing. That's Clinker. That was one of the answers I was given. That's Clinker. That's Bubble Gloop. So we get this joker here to skip these mini games that have a timer. Because if you do not skip them, then it takes so long to finish. The two places where a run can die in Furnace Fun is bunch of flowers. The two places where a run can die is on that Joker Square and on that skull square there, because those skull square are technically instant death. And that's one of these questions you don't want to get. And rip Furnace Fun. I lost the run to RNG, dude. So I need to start the entire quiz over because of that. That was pure RNG. There was one chance out of two that I got the right answer and one chance out of two that I got the wrong one. And there's no way to know unless you're trying. Unless you try. So this one won't be a sub 220 mostly because of that. But it's still gonna be a pretty decent run overall. Brentilda. We now only have one pattern left, so the RNG shouldn't be a thing anymore. Near the oh my god, I pressed the wrong button. Okay, I'm gonna grab an extra joker here. It's gonna be super slow, but I just mistakenly hit that that button to skip the question. Is this? No? Oh shit. Okay. I guess. That's Chimpy. These picture questions can be quite tricky because there are some of these that look the same. Dragon's Foot. foggy. Yeah, there are some places that look the same within the levels. Blubber. Brentilda. Sweaty yellow. No, please. He's not even there. There we go. Finally got that Joker we needed. Alright, Rusty Bucket Bay. I'm gonna use a Joker to skip the second, the last grunty question. Since I have one anyways. And then what I'm going here is I'm gonna skip the rest of this puzzle by going to a certain spot and miss that that question. So not gold feather. So this is a gold necklace, obviously. There. So now the game thinks that I'm dead, but I ain't. So I can just walk through the end to the end of the puzzle and skip the fake credits that would spawn after that. I have 9 feathers left. I should be safe for the ending with feathers. Another thing here, it's gonna be one important skip. It's gonna be Dink Pot skip. I hope I get it, so I'm gonna focus and then explain it. Okay, so I jumped straight into that pot without touching the ground, because if I did miss that jump or I lost the momentum of my movement before going into the pot, it would have triggered about a minute dialogue with the between the pot and Grunty, Banjo-Kazooie, and everyone, in fact. So by jumping into the pot before that, I effectively skipped the entire dialogue, which is super important on Xbox since I cannot skip that dialogue. So what I just did here is a phase skip, so we've skipped the entire first phase of the game by shooting eggs at her. Instead of hitting her and then waiting for her to do her stuff. Also, ground pounding in this game cancels damage for a few frames after doing the actual ground pound. So that's why I'm doing this ground pound when she shoots her homing balls. These beak bombs can be quite tricky. If you miss one of these, it becomes so hard to get them again. So you want to not miss one and then you're fine. Here I'm gonna attempt some cutscene skip. We got it. So basically it's gonna overlap the cutscene of the Jinjos coming out of the ground and the one of the Jinjo hitting Grunty. So it saves quite some time. So time is gonna be coming up in about 30-something seconds unless I mess up really badly, so get ready for time. Time's gonna be after I shoot 4 or 5 eggs in each of the holes in the Ginjonator. Should be quite safe with 7 health. And time. Time? Thanks. And that was Banjo-Kazooie 100% on the XBLA version. So before I leave the mic to the next run, whatever it is, I'm gonna do a shout out to the Banjo-Kazooie community. They are a super welcoming community. Either you are an N64 runner, an Xbox runner, whatever. Everyone's super helpful. Even though races often never finish, doing races with peeps is great. And the learning curve of this game ain't that bad. So if you want to learn this game, go into the speedrun.com page. There should be a link to the Discord, and from there we're going to be happy to give you some help. So yeah, guess that's it. Let's enjoy the credits, and thanks everyone for watching the run.